Howdy folks, I'm Tenacious Tarrasque, terribly terrifying, tumultuous taverns.
I'm Amber.
And here are more taverns for us to terrify. I mean, when you're a Tarrasque, that's kind of what you do. You terrify things. My life. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Give My Brother-in-Law a Free Massage Even Though I Own the Massage Studio? So I basically run my own little massage therapy business. I rent a comfy studio, I have regular clients, and honestly, I work really hard to keep the business moving. It's my full-time job and not just a side hustle, and it pays my bills. Well, this weekend, my sister and her husband came over for dinner. At some point, my brother-in-law casually asked, Man, I've been so sore lately. Can you just give me a quick massage while we're here? I kind of laughed it off and said, That's what I do all week. You can book a session with me if you really want to, though. He looked offended and said that he thought that family should get freebies. My sister chimed in and said, Yeah, come on, you can't just do a 20-minute back rub for him. It won't cost you anything. Well, I told them that it does cost time, energy, and the skills that I spent years training for. If I start giving away free massages every time someone in the family feels sore, I would basically be working for free half the time. They kind of got grumpy about it and said that I was being stingy and that it was just a massage and that I should want to help family. Now I'm feeling weird because I don't want to be selfish, but I also don't think that it's fair to be expected for me just to work for free because I own a small business. Am I the jerk for not giving my brother-in-law a free massage? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. This is something you do for work, and like you said, it could very quickly be taken advantage of. If you give someone a free massage, then they're all going to be expecting free massages. The fact that your family, if anything, should make them want to pay you more because you should want to support your family members in their business endeavors.
Yeah, I mean, some people have the philosophy of, pay your family more, and a family does family, favors and you pay them. Some families have the idea that you do favors for free and it kind of all evens out because everyone's supposed to be doing favors for each other, right? And that only works if everyone is truly doing everyone favors, and able to kind of, pull their weight, so to speak, right? And I mean, certainly, I think in a lot of ways, that's how old societies function, because before, the propagation of money, there was barter and trade and stuff like that, trade of services and skills. So in some ways, I think that's just kind of a relic of a different era, right? Not that there's anything wrong with it necessarily, but that it just doesn't necessarily fit in our current times when, especially when you have one family member doing a lot for everyone else and everyone else not doing a lot for the one family member, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's different when there are kind of the trade-offs. But how often is brother-in-law doing things that benefit OP?
Yeah. And I mean, maybe OP can be like, well, if you give me free X, Y, and Z, type of thing, right? And, trade for trade, tradesies, you do my taxes, I'll do your massage for you for 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a fair trade-off for him. In the end, I think that it's really just a matter of that OP doesn't feel that's a fair agreement or a fair trade-off. And so I think they're more than entitled to say, no, I'm not interested in taking you up on this deal, right? And OP is right. I mean, why would they want to spend their time and energy in their off time giving massages to everyone too, right? They need time to recover so that they can do well at their job. If they're run ragged from giving free massages all the time, then that's not going to be fair to them and they're not going to be able to support themselves. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Stiggly says, not the jerk, brother-in-law can help family by paying family members for services provided. And OP replies, so easy. And that's kind of what I was getting at before, is the way people used to trade and stuff like that, it was kind of worth the monetary time and value. But we now have money, and that money is what we trade for things, right? And Melodic says, the whole stingy comment is hilarious when they're stingy themselves for expecting to have things for free because of family. If they're not the stingy ones, go pay for massages. You're allowed to say no, simple as that. And OP replies, thanks, I feel a bit better now. And Defiant Radish 1492 says, you're not the jerk. They are. Do they ask their accountant cousin to do their taxes for free? Their painter uncle to paint their houses for free? And OP replies, I thought of that as well.
Well, I think some of this is also probably them undervaluing what OP does and not seeing it as a real job. Like it's, they might see it as, oh, it's just easy. All she has to do is rub my shoulders for 20 minutes without thinking about the physical effort and energy that's expended in it.
Yeah. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Charging My Girlfriend Rent even though I own the house outright? I bought my house outright a few years ago. I inherited some money, so no mortgage, and the house is fully paid. My girlfriend moved in a little while ago, and I asked her to contribute to the bills and rent. I'm charging her below market value, and she couldn't find a place for this price on her own. Once she found out that I own my house, she became furious. She said that since it's my house, charging her rent is ridiculous and that it feels like I'm treating our relationship like a business arrangement. I argued that it's fair, living together costs money, and she's benefiting from a place that she doesn't own. She argues that I'm being greedy and putting money over her. For some context, she has a full-time job but doesn't want to pay rent on a property that she argues that I live in for free. Friends are split. Some say that I'm reasonable and that she should contribute, and others say that I'm being petty and trying to monetize my relationship. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP, you're the jerk. And I think you know this because you weren't forthright with her from the beginning. You could have told her, hey, I want to charge you rent. I own my place, so I'm just going to be pocketing this money. And then it would be up to her to decide if she wants to do it or not. But to be like, oh, hey, and she assumes that like this money is going toward a mortgage or something when you're really just profiting, that is not cool. Like, it's one thing to charge her for like half the utilities and all that sort of stuff. That's totally fair. But to just like make up a rent cost and like you're treating her like a tenant, and she is paying into your house and getting no equity.
Yeah, well, okay. So I have a lot of mixed feelings on situations like this because I do think that OP I think that she should help cover the cost of living, right? So splitting utilities, splitting, different bills and stuff like that, and potentially even splitting the property tax, right? So if property tax is really expensive, I can understand why OP would want her to help contribute to that, right? I draw the line there, though, right? I think like at that point in time, any expenses past that, OP is being unfair. And, I think a 50-50 split of those, since they're both the ones living there, is pretty reasonable, or even dependent on how much room or space she takes up in the house too, right? Like if she comes in and now is taking up 90% of the house space and is doing all this other stuff, then maybe she pays more of the property tax. I don't know, right?
Yeah, I don't think the property taxes are a fair ask because she's getting no equity in this. And, generally if one person owns the house outright, I think, again, it's fine to expect the partner to pay toward utilities, but anything toward house upkeep, and that includes property taxes, I feel like unless they offer to do it is not a fair ask.
Well, I view property tax as rent to the state, and so he's paying rent to the state, and I feel like that's kind of a fair ask. And not everyone's going to agree on that, and that's just my view on property taxes. House maintenance, stuff like that, I kind of view a little bit different because, the house is his and it's kind of his responsibility to maintain the house, and she doesn't have any equity in it. So I do agree with you there that maybe he covers the cost of the house maintenance and stuff like that. Or if she breaks something in the house, then she's responsible for repairing that too, right? But they both live there, and so wear and tear to some degree. I mean, I don't know. People have to decide on their own what's fair and not fair at a certain point, right? Yeah, I think though, like if this was a mortgage situation, I would feel a little bit different because mortgages are him paying down the house, and like if she's not getting equity out of the mortgage, I don't know, like it's a difficult situation. These kinds of arrangements are always really challenging, and it's one of those things where you need to sit down and discuss all those kinds of things beforehand, before someone moves in with you. That way they feel like they're involved in this conversation and aren't being taken for a ride.
Right, and be honest from the start. Like, again, it seems like OP is making up an arbitrary rent figure to profit off of her because he can.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, it's below market rent. You shouldn't be trying to profit off of your partner.
Yeah.
It, again, is one thing to expect compensation for, like, shared expenses because you both are living in the house, but it's something entirely else to be, like, using her as your passive income.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I stand. I think that you're absolutely right that he should have presented these numbers ahead of time before they moved in, been very open and very honest about his financial situation. And that way it can minimize the amount of friction when moving into a situation like this, right?
Because this has become a very landlord-tenant situation. Like at this point in time, he's renting a room in the house to her, essentially. But she doesn't even get her own room, probably. She's probably sharing with him.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. You're the jerk, and even karma's taking notes.
We keep letting the wheel slide. I'm going to let them slide again. Like, is it unnecessarily punitive? Maybe, but, I'm not too fussed.
And Urban Yeti 0 says, you're the jerk for hiding the fact that you own the property. Saying, hey, I own this place, but I would like you to pay a portion of the rent that will cover the wear and tear, and any goods that need replacing would be fine. But hiding it is underhanded. And Only Breadfruit 6108 says, I mean, she's got a point. You want her to contribute rent to an imaginary landlord. That is you. Did you make her sign a lease too? Contributing to bills, fine. Gas, water, electricity, internet, waste removal, council rates and fees, land tax, whatever comes up, sure, that's all fine. But imaginary rent, not cool. You're the jerk. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk? Disagreement over paying the bill. My boyfriend and I'm a female, went on a double date. Typically, he pays for the dates when we're out, and I pay for the smaller stuff. Recently, he brought up feeling like he is expected to pay and doesn't want to feel like an ATM. So this evening, on our double date, he happened to be in the restroom when the check came. Me and my friend's husband split the bill. When my boyfriend came back, he was upset that I paid. He said, thank you, but then he asked me not to do that again. Later, I asked him why it made him so upset, and he said he was fine when I offered to pay when it's just the two of us, but not in that situation. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, he said he wanted you to pay more, so you paid more. Dude does not get to be the knight in shining armor in front of friends and then be taking money from you behind their backs. Like,
yeah.
He just wants to look like he's the provider without actually being the provider.
That's kind of what I'm afraid of in this situation, is that he just wants to have the perception that he's being the one who's always paying for these kinds of things. And then, like, OP pays here, and now he's afraid that it makes him look like he's not, paying every single time. I think that there needs to be, like, why not have OP pay in this situation? Like, this is exactly what he wanted.
But it bruises his ego, because then, the other dude might see OP paying and, like, look down on him. Like, and, certainly the social expectations around who pays can be uncomfortable and unfortunate. But, I think it's important that we break those norms, if that's the kind of relationship he wants. Like, it's fine if he wants to always pay. It's fine if he wants to alternate who pays, but he shouldn't just, like, be doing this to, like, put on a front. Like, he needs to decide whether it's more important that he gets the money or that he gets to look like he always pays, because he always pays.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think that he needs to figure out what exactly he wants in this situation. It doesn't sound like he even knows, right? So, hopefully they can sit down and talk about this, but I don't think, like, if he's just doing this as, like, a visual impression type of thing where he always wants to look good, then I think that's poor form. I really do. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Power Grand 54 says, not the jerk. He wants to be a real man around other men, but share the costs when it's just the two of you. Not a good look for him. And Just a Meme Guy says, this is exactly what it is. And LDJ says, not the jerk. Boyfriend, I would like you to pay the bill more often. OP pays the bill. Boyfriend, not that way. And No Assignment 5538 says, OP needs to press the boyfriend to explain exactly what he thinks that she did wrong. Once she makes him articulate things, she will have a much clearer idea of why she should dump him. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Wife That She's Fiscally Irresponsible? My wife and I have just returned from a holiday. Yesterday, we were having lunch by the hotel swimming pool when she decided that she wanted to go for a swim. But instead of going upstairs to her hotel room to put on her swimming costume, she said that she didn't feel like going upstairs and wanted to buy a new swimming costume so that she could just go swim without having to go up the stairs. Keep in mind that the swimming costume that she had picked for herself is brand new, apart from having tried it on for size. She's never worn it for swimming. Responsible behavior or not? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, it sounds a little bit fiscally irresponsible to me when the only obligation is getting up the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what they have for money and
Yeah.
what, because like if money is no object and she's just like, whatever, my energy isn't worth going up the stairs because I make more money in a second than this swimsuit costs, then like maybe, yeah, fiscally irresponsible, but she can do whatever she wants because she has unlimited funds. If this is, we're getting by from paycheck to paycheck, and this would mean like they have to like miss a meal, very fiscally irresponsible.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I'm guessing since they're on a vacation, this is probably somewhere in between where they make okay money, but they're not like uber rich. And even in the case if they were uber rich, they should still like agree on finances if they have shared finances. But
Well, I mean, I think you hit on a really good point. Like, is this her fun money, for instance? Like, does she have her own personal finances that she can pay for things out of? And if that's the case, if she used her own money and this isn't like joint money that she's, siphoning off of, then I think like it doesn't matter if it's physically irresponsible or not. It's her money, right? So, while OP might have a point, I think there are a lot of points here that I have a hard time like deciding whether or not she's actually like horribly in the wrong or horribly in the right.
yeah, I just can't like imagine having the energy to go swimming, but not having the energy to walk up the stairs.
Well, it might be a skewed view here. It might not be that she didn't want to go up the stairs. It might have just been that she didn't like the swimsuit for one reason or another, or didn't feel comfortable in that swimsuit, and that she packed it and then regretted it, and this is why she wants a new one, right? I mean, it's really hard to know what her true motives are, right? Because sometimes you feel great one day about a swimsuit or a piece of clothing or something like that, and then the next day you're like, I don't know, I feel really awkward about this. I thought I was going to be more adventurous with this swimsuit, but now I'm not feeling that adventurousness anymore, and I want to switch to a different one. So swimsuits are kind of like a very personally type of thing, and I can understand feeling maybe uncomfortable in the moment if you didn't want to wear a particular one. So I don't know. I'm willing to give some benefit of the doubt here, that it isn't just I didn't want to walk up the stairs. Maybe that's the excuse that she gave him, but maybe there's something deeper here.
And there could be. Like, I just took it literally as I don't want to walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, if I were her, I'd just be like, Brian, could you get me my bathing suit?
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Brian will get Amber her bathing suit because he doesn't want to spend $20 on a new bathing suit.
Well, it's probably more than that now. A
Yeah.
lot of swimsuits. But like, if I wanted to go swimming, I would hopefully be prepared.
And Analyst Cold says, is it her money? Then don't worry about it. And OP replies, my credit card. And Supposed 2 says, where does the money to pay the credit card come from? Joint or separate accounts? And OP replies, my account. It's not looking so good for her in that respect.
I mean, even if he's paying all the money, like, she still should have some money of her
Oh,
own.
yeah.
But, again, that's the kind of thing, like, where if it's an excessive purchase, if she's prone to kind of these excessive purchases, then they really should be discussed jointly and made jointly.
Yeah. And Cassowary32 says, info, this is a weird scenario. Did she see a suit that she liked in the shop earlier? I can't imagine that it will take less time and energy to try on a swimsuit than it would be to walk back to the room and put one on that fits. Are you on a tight budget? Would getting a new suit cause problems down the line? Is there no room for spontaneity or joy in the budget? It sounds like she wanted something and came up with a flimsy excuse because her husband is very judgmental about her purchases. And OP replies, in regards to, did she see a suit that she liked earlier in the shop? Not that I know of, but that's a fair question. Are you on a tight budget? No, not really. But swimsuits aren't exactly cheap either. The one that she bought was around $150, and the one that she bought yesterday from the hotel gift shop was around $200. Okay. I would have to say that my arguments for giving her the benefit of the doubt are slowly sliding away into the distance here.
Yeah, like I'm trying to remember the last swimsuit I bought, and like I think it was like maybe in the $30 range.
And C Operation 6123 says, I'm curious. Did you buy anything for yourself on your trip? And OP replies, I bought a t-shirt on special for half price. And Bella from Switzerland says, Info, does your wife work outside the home? As in, is she used to earning some money? Money doesn't always grow on trees. My teenager has attempted some silly, lazy requests like this once or twice, and it was shut down immediately. And OP replies, great question, yes she does. She also earns more than me, however she spends most of her money on professional development. Had she used her own money to buy the swimsuit, I would have still thought that it was financially irresponsible, given that she already has one in her luggage. But I wouldn't have said anything. I only spoke up because she used my credit card for it. I get his frustration in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she should have enough money of her own to make frivolous purchases.
All right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the zombie order an extra large coffee?
Well, because they were all out of brains.
Because they were dead tired.
Ah.
And it's National Coffee Day.
Ooh.
And also National Silent Movie Day.
So go find yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of joe, and watch a silent movie. I don't know. Something like that. And I have Mega Mint. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your day is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on money.
It's important to be aware of your finances and fiscally responsible, especially when you're spending your partner's money.
I agree. Here's my advice. Money, a new car, caviar, 4-star daydream. Think I'll buy myself a football team. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!